Commission report, no report. Nothing there. Unfinished business, this is a continuation now on, our annual meeting, because this item was discussed and voted on. And you'll notice this is a positive motion, has to be a positive motion. Maybe the motion doesn't leave it, can't do it. That is true, but by Robert's rules, motions must be positive.
And address that. When we spoke of whether or not the town was going to fund the village for their fireworks, a motion was made that the town not fund the village. How else do you make that motion?
The motion was, yes was 22, no was 23. So the motion was to contribute. That's how it's posted, that's how it was voted on. So it was 22 yes, 23 no. And Kim brought that up too, and I'll address that, because we have a lot of regular things happening.
Robert's rules requires positive motion.
It's the law. So, that's a good segue into talking about this. So we have a positive motion here. Before we can get to a discussion on it, I'll make a motion, as it's posted legally, authorize town attorney to continue with creation of shipping container ordinance. So I'll make a motion to say, yes, to open up the discussion. So I need a second, so we can discuss this.
Second.
Barb Church, second. Discussion on that part, is now to a point where, I have a statement to make here. First of all, I'm voting, no to that continuation on it, okay? Motion is to continue. The voters, the electors spoke clearly, by a pretty large margin, 26 to 15, to not do this ordinance, okay? So, but here's some reasons why you probably should consider voting for that. Number one, like I mentioned, the motion to create that ordinance was illegal. And I know, Supervisor, you insisted on doing that, and the clerk said, no, you can't do it. Jim, I think, said, I think it's been done before. Rather than start a war at the annual meeting, I said, okay, I'll let it go. Number two, Carla, you were here, look back at the tapes, and the sort of conduct we heard mentioned before, you were out of order twice, maybe 3 times in that meeting. I did not yell you out and said, you're out of order, okay, but that discussion, the reason I bring it up is not to embarrass you, I'm bringing it up because the argument you had directly with Mr. Vaughn there made it appear like it's a neighborhood squabble. And my view is, in a town of 4,000 people, we're all neighbors, okay? We're all neighbors. So that, no one can honestly say that they would be okay with being in their position, so we spoke this piece, especially having the property value. That's again another reason. And most ordinances are created to protect you from your neighbor. Protecting property values is a long-established resident expectation and demand. That's true, and it's not going to change. Despite these irregularities, the vote was not close. There was plenty of discussion, pro and con, and in addition, this doesn't appear to be a widespread problem at all. You know, it's not. Eventually, town residents may demand that. We're not to that point now, so that's why, you know, on this motion to continue, I will be voting no. So that's my argument. All right, discussion on this before we vote.
So regarding Robert's rules, just did a quick Google. If you have documentation, I'd be interested.
Town association will provide it to you.
Where that, because it says here, Robert's rules of order are not based on statutes, laws, or court decisions. Robert's rules of order are not legally required to be used by any organization and are not legally binding unless formally adopted by the organization.
Which we did.
It is in our town code.
It's in our town code.
Robert's rules.
Yes. That's why, again, people start calling me king here again. Well, you have to have an orderly meeting. You can't be talking over somebody else that has the floor. Somebody else has the floor, you let them continue. It's just courtesy, okay? It's nothing else, okay? So, I did verify that again with town association, and it is correct. You cannot do it.
Not legal though.
Yeah. And the reason why is, when you have a negative motion, it just confuses the whole factor, is yes or no, you're saying no to say yes, and yes to say no. That's why they do it that way. And I've been in the Robertson Rules for 50 years, at least. And one thing that always been brought out, and you guys go to training, town association, they'll probably talk about meetings and their meetings. You just don't do it. You just don't do it, okay? So again, I made the argument there why you should, but, again, I'm looking at this saying, you know, that's not the case now, there's no public outcry to do it. Could happen in the future,
So what is the motion?
The motion is as listed, authorize attorney to continue, so there's gonna be a yes or no vote. Okay, and I don't know if we're done discussion. Anybody else, any more discussion on this before we vote? I'm gonna call it to a vote. Here's your call the question then. Okay, roll call vote, on motion to continue, Barkowski, no.
Leonard, no.
Graves, no. Church, no.
Johnner, no.
Okay, unanimous, no, so, discontinuing action now. Okay, I hope everybody understood what I just got done saying. It's not anything else in there. Okay, next item on the agenda, the new business, discussion regarding ATV, UTVs, and county roads and authorizations to modify current ordinance allow ATV, UTVs on county roads in the town of East Shore. And Supervisor Johnner, you, had this item, so that's your lead the discussion.
Basically I put this on here, because my constituents who put me in here have brought this up. I know going back to, February of 2022, it was brought up by Mr. Todd Shield to enact, ordinance pertaining to ATV and UTV ordinance. It also, you know, it was brought up about a month later that, the police department reported, that there was no real issues with it. And that Attorney Mills said that on that same one, that the liability risks to the township are very slim. So that rules out our liability to it. As far as the safety goes, I know there was a public comment on that. That is actually laid out in our ordinance. And it states an age limit and also states safety equipment for different age groups. Under the age of 12, I don't think there's a problem with this ordinance, actually. I think that we should, I would consider, and I want the county roads to be open.
Well, the county roads are open except for 55 miles per hour.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion to open up county roads.
All roads.
All roads. Because in the ordinance, it covers our safety, it covers just about all of that. So I would like, and it was very well written, it was created 6/13/2022. Anyone who doesn't have that available to them, you can look on the town website. And big reason why, I have a map here, I should have probably put this in the packet. Where I live off of West Bay, it really alienates us. St. Peter's is cut off. So if you look, we can only go to the end of Stringer's Bridge Road and halfway to St. Peter's. I mean, that's 2 blocks for me, or 3 blocks. So this would open up J and also, you know, my constituents on Highway L, or County Road L. So I do think that it is in the best interest of us to open them. It was also voted on at an annual meeting with 42 yes votes and 32 no votes. So I am going to go on the stance of the electors.
The annual meeting, that vote was for town roads, no mention of county roads on that one.
Later on, the Walworth County passed,
Yes.
there's
That's why we did include the 45s and under.
yes.
Jim, did you want to comment now or during discussion?
Right now, I understand the reason why the motion, or the forthcoming motion will be made, but towns can only do what they are authorized to do by statute. And by statute, there's no authorization to open up a 55 road, regardless of what the county did. So I saw in your history of events, and I thank you for doing that, that there was a motion made and failed to open up all county roads up to the 45-mile-per-hour limit. That we do have authority to do, but I could not find any authority for the 55 zone.
Alright, so, before we can have the rest of the board discuss this, why don't you make a motion to exactly what you said, you wanna open up all county roads?
All county trunk highways.
Okay, so make that into a motion.
I motion to open up all county trunk highways with ATV and UTVs.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Barb, second? Okay, now we can discuss. Couple things that's gonna follow up, and I don't know if I'm coming from the same direction, that's pretty nosy. In 2017, when the state allowed, ATVs, the authority for towns to do this, they said 35 miles per hour less. That's in the law, actually. So, the reason we did it after we had a request to get the county roads, we did do the ones, 45 and under, because we said, well, hell, we have county roads at 45, so why would we stop county roads, other than county roads obviously on our side. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna design something. I'm not doing this.
But you just said 45, but in your first statement you said 35, so I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, Wisconsin Act 87,
In 2017.
in 2017, the DOT said 35 miles per hour and less. That was their recommendation. In general, every time they speak about maximum speed, they're saying 35. We went to 45 because, we have town roads, a lot of them that are 45. And it would be kind of, I guess the discussion we had was kind of foolish when you say, well, why would we allow it then on county roads at 45? Okay, so that's why it is. Now, the other stat on here, and maybe your safety here, in 2022, there were 92 ATV, UTV crashes on public roads in Wisconsin, 11 fatalities. And every time you've seen that run through by the DOT, they still speak to 35. I don't realize, I mean, they say it's speed, alcohol, I mean, they never did break down these fatalities or even these crashes to whether it was, 15 miles per hour or 55.
Change the speed limit.
Or what were the contributing factors. So, okay, did you have anything to
I just wanted to
Okay.
clarify.
Yes.
So you're saying we don't have authorization to go?
Well,
We have authorization to go to 45. The statute says towns can authorize to 35. If it wants to go higher, it has to get county approval. County by ordinance said they will open up their roads, that allowed the town to go to 45 on county highways.
55.
There is no
55.
authority to go to 55.
From the county,
Not by statute.
but the county is allowing us to do it.
Yes.
Right, but
Yes.
towns can only do what's in statute. It's different than villages and cities. So because there's no authorization for towns to go to 55, regardless of what the county said that they would allow, I don't believe we have authority to go to 55. We can go to 45 on all county highways, and even that change it's not even a change, but that language isn't even in our ordinance, so we should probably include that in our ordinance regardless of what the vote is today.
So we can split the speed limit.
well, we already did it.
In
Oh, you mean-
55, we can do a split
Yes,
speed
you
limit,
can.
just like they do on highway, everywhere.
So,
in
you
Yes.
different states.
Yes.
We do 55 car, ATV, UTV 45.
Yes,
Okay.
and that differential, I think, should be spelled out in the ordinance.
That's
100%, I agree with that.
Mr. Gainer?
Could I amend what my motion was?
Why don't you,
To amend
sorry.
45 and 55 mile an hour zones.
I think we had, we actually,
We did vote on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Just to open these up.
yeah, it could be
They're
voted
out
on
on
again,
highways.
even though it was defeated before.
Alright. So,
Why don't you withdraw your previous motion?
I'm withdrawing my previous motion and motioning to open up all county trunk highways at 55 miles an hour to posted 45 mile an hour speed limit for ATV and UTV use.
All second.
All right, now, you made a new, you made a new motion, you didn't get rid of your first motion.
Yeah.
Did anybody second that?
No.
I'll second.
Oh,
All right, the motion to withdraw the first motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Okay, so on the new motion you made, and Barb, you,
I second.
Ty seconded it. Okay, discussion on that part. First of all, the St. Peter's Road issue, you're only gonna have one grant in there because the village is never gonna allow it.
I'm gonna address that.
And-
Okay?
I'm going to, I'm sorry I interrupted you. I'm going to work with the board there to possibly open that up. And also, there's a chunk to quick trip that would be very beneficial for anyone with ATV or UTVs to go and fill their gas. I have a 4-wheeler with a license plate, I pay taxes on it, I have a sticker, I have my registration card too. So, I think that's already laid out in the ordinance, it's very well written, and it covers safety and compliance in that fashion.
All right, what discussion on the new motion then? So what you would have would be disparate speeds with vehicles. So now you have a slower moving vehicle where the regular car traffic would be 10 miles per hour more, okay? That's a safety problem, okay? Not so much on J, L, terrible, I'll never vote for J, or for L. J is pretty wide open, and the town of Troy, whether or not they're gonna, check legal wise or not, they wrote their ordinance that opened up all town roads and said if the county opens up the county roads, that's included. So they didn't have to do, they saved on one vote, but that's what they did. So if somebody wanted to go from your location, or John's location, up into Troy and beyond, it would help, immensely for the people on the J portion. Now, again, the amount that we're talking about here is really
I have the
1.2
report
miles
of
on
history
J.
here.
Right, and that is straight, wide open, 2 driveways, no subdivision roads. Matter of fact, Todd, I think you counted the entrances, there ain't much.
You got one entrance at Woodfield Court, right where the speed limit changes, and you got one at Stringers Bridge Road. They're not crossroads, it's just they dead end on Highway J.
Right, okay. And then, on L, that's 3.5 miles, okay? So, what I will say on this is, if the L is included, there's no way I can work your conscience.
That's a whole.
J? That makes sense for connectivity with the rest of the towns and the rest of the town roads that we already have open. That makes sense, look on the map, it does make sense. Is it gonna be safe going at 45 miles per hour? Where cars are buzzing at 55? That ain't a good scene, so. Alright, more discussion?
Well, I used to drive truck all over this country, and there's split speed limits across the country with trucks and cars, and so I understand your concern, but I don't know if that should be put in front of everyone in that manner, in my opinion. And that's my opinion, I've dealt with it for several years.
Wisconsin still does not have the semis and the cars are all the same.
Right.
When that difference, it was an issue. I don't think causing accidents. ATVs are small. People, like motorcycles, people pull the intersection, there's a motorcycle coming.
Right.
Their eyes see it, but you don't recognize it as a vehicle.
They're safer than a motorcycle.
Oh, sure.
4 wheels better than 2.
And most of them are road running.
I do have one more question, and that's for Todd.
Yeah.
What kind of monies are we looking at for the signage, I guess? Like, if we're gonna do 45.
We're
is
gonna
that
do
gonna be a
45,
big deal?
it's only a couple of signs.
Okay,
You're probably $30-some a sign,
okay.
and
That's the line.
Minimal.
very minimal.
Right?
I have a question as to where ATV, UTVs fall under. Are they, I I know that they're licensed by the DNR, but I know that there's also some ruling from the DOT, so who takes precedence?
Chief question. He's looking at it right now.
I'm sorry.
100% transparency. When it comes to the DNR, UTVs and ATVs, pull out 3 encyclopedias and start reading the statutes because it's like truck law. There's an exception to every rule, and every rule has an exception. And you literally need to contact your local DNR warden and go, this is what I have in front of me. Do I have anything I can enforce? Some of it is pretty clear cut and simple, as far as the licensing and registering and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the traffic laws, because UTVs are not considered motor vehicles under the 346 statute, you have to refer to the DNR statutes for that. So it gets really confusing, and I am not an expert on it. I would need to make phone calls because, again, like I said, a couple years ago when this craze started, manufacturers made the UTVs literally 1/4 of an inch wider than the Wisconsin statute, so it wouldn't fit into our statute, and that kind of started the UTV road thing. And again, if you start reading statutes, it's a lot of double talk.
Which is why I spent several hours trying to piece together statutes and DNR laws, and I was very confused.
And I've never done a deep dive into it. All I can tell you is what I see when I'm driving outside of Walworth County. In Fond du Lac County, some of the rural roads that I'm on are rural roads. 55 miles an hour is the speed limit for me and my vehicle. But when you turn the corner onto that road, the ATV sign is there with a 35-mile-an-hour sign. Green Lake County, where I spend a lot of time, also had their County Highway A open to ATV, UTV use. It is now closed to ATV, UTV use. I don't know why they did that. I didn't research it. I just noticed there's a lot of changes going on where I drive in the central southeast portion of the state of Wisconsin, adjustments being made by all these municipalities as to what they're allowing for their ATV, UTV usage on the road. And I think a lot of it has to do with, going back to my initial starting point, the statutes are so convoluted.
Yeah.
2, 3 people, 4 people could read the same statute and interpret it 3 or 4 different ways. And that makes it difficult to enforce because even our wardens don't have it down pat.
Alright, we asked the chief for input on that, and public comments closed, but Chad, if the board's okay, Chad has a comment? Okay with Lord?
Yep.
Yes.
I just, thank you, I know I spent many of hours sitting up there and talking about this, but, so, I'm just looking at our local communities and a few people that I know about it and on some of our discussions, they all do 55 on J. There's no speed limit reduction on Highway J, that's through a township. There's townships like out in Jefferson County, like,
All of Jefferson.
what?
All of Jefferson County.
Is 50,
County roads, yeah.
county roads are 55, so I guess I'm curious on, and I know, Attorney
It's
Mills has been
supposed to be
looking.
jurisdiction. The town has jurisdiction over every town road. We don't have jurisdiction over county roads.
Correct, so that's why I was under the understanding when the county released this to the entire county, that it was to the discretion of the town's municipalities, each individually. So I'm saying if you can't do it, I'm wondering how people are doing it.
They're doing it because they don't have me as their legal counsel.
Then maybe we gotta get
What
rid
a
of you.
great answer, I like that. I mean, I'm just wondering why, because if that's the case, then I would think I would be seeing 45s, and Joe's saying that this is something that is becoming, a safety issue, which my dad drove truck a long time too, and he said you don't.
Changes.
He said you don't want
Because
to.
people thought they had the authority to do something, and someone told them they did not.
Right, but if they're doing the 40, it isn't a good idea, but I think it's a good idea for people in the community to be able to open those up to get places, but I think 55 would be safer.
I had a question for Chief if he's still available.
Yes.
Since the ATV, UTV has been going, is there a lot of issues on our roads with them?
I've had 0 issues,
Okay.
and, I, when
We
it,
just-
when all of it was open, the one issue that I recall was out on, Honey Creek, and it was a combination issue of, ATVs and motocross bikes. I had a chat with those folks, and we have not to this date gotten another complaint about it. So as far as my aspect of it, if it's not reported to me, I don't see it an issue. So you might get one of your constituents that says, I have an ATV racing up and down East Shore. Well, if they never call the police to tell me that there's an ATV racing up and down East Shore, I sit here and tell you, I have had, other than the Honey Creek Road complaint, I've had 0 complaints about
Okay,
that.
that's all I want, 0, that's the number, 0 problems. I like that.
Chief, was that from last month? Because we had a juvenile citation for ATV.
No, that was,
No, we just had one that the judge dealt with.
then that's one I'm not aware of, but the one I dealt with was back right after in like October, November, after I got hired in 2022.
Okay, could you please read that motion?
There's more discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were coming. Go ahead.
So yeah, that initial issue was Honey Creek and Bell School Road. I never expect, the initial intent of this ATV, UTV, I think was like lake access. I will tell you that I have quite a bit of activity on Bell School Road with ATVs and UTVs. They are going quickly because it's 45 on that road. But no, the one incident in the beginning, and I haven't heard complaints since then. On L, I know there's a bad intersection there, L and Miramar and Stone School, yep, that's what I'm spitting out. But, do you know, I'm sure you don't off the top of your head, like how many accidents, I've only seen one maybe in the last couple of years as far as road debris after the accident, but I think that's the big primary concern right on L. Because it's 55 there and.
To my knowledge, there have been several severe car crashes,
Right.
but to my knowledge, and again, without digging in, I'm again pretty confident less than 3 if there has been a UTV, ATV involved. And I'm thinking that's closer to 0 at that specific intersection, but some very serious car crashes over the years with that intersection.
All right, I think
Can I ask the chief a question, please?
yeah.
When they are going down like a county road where you're at 55, let's say Highway J, right, or whatever, J, or ES, and they're going, are they able to stay in the middle, or are they pulled over semi like a bicycle? Do you know what I mean? Do they have the right to be right in the?
If the town ordinance or the town authorizes those to drive, the only thing I can talk to is what I've seen in other municipalities, because our ATVs drive down the middle of the road, and in the city of Delavan where I live, golf carts drive down the middle of the road because they've authorized golf carts and UTVs. They have the same right to the road. It's not like a bicyclist where you're expected to ride on the shoulder of the road, or a farmer, supposed to be as far to the right as possible. They're in the traffic lane.
And they can keep up, and technically they can go that fast. I don't know anything about ATV, but they can get up to that, like a car speed.
Yeah, they can.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna be here all night, I'll just let you know, there's no way I'm ever gonna be in favor of L. I see J being, safety wise, as far as the geometrics on that road, as far as what Troy's doing, whatever. Could you read the motion as it's on the floor now?
Motion by, Joe Johnner to open all county roads regardless of speed limit, however, splitting the speed limit for motor vehicles and ATVs to 55 and 45 respectively, in those 55-mile-an-hour speed zones.
All right,
And the other thing was, sorry, that kind of got cut off in my comments. To the chief's comments, we can, other municipalities are making revisions and learning as they go. So just because we approve something now doesn't mean we can't revisit it in 6 months or 12
Sure.
months. It's exclusive in it.
we could change it to eliminate it all, but that's not how it normally works, so. Okay, as the motion, as it's, then right now, I'm doing a roll call vote. I'm gonna vote no because of L. I'm gonna give it J, but L not, so Farkowski, nay.
Leonard, A, yes.
Reyes, yes.
Church, no, I also have a problem with,
Johnner, yes.
All right, motion carries 3-2, so the motion does pass. So you will have to get some assigned revisions with that split speed limit.
But now do we need to also authorize Attorney
Yes.
Mills to
Yes.
modify the ATV, UTV, or?
The ordinance doesn't need to be, it's very, very gray. It's literally, it's just signage for us designating routes.
It does, because, one of the sections references ATVs can go the posted speed limit on that road.
That's changed.
So, there's gonna be a change on the 55-mile-per-hour portions on J and L that limits it to 45 for ATVs.
Okay, that's for the motion. Okay, and like I said, God, you're gonna have some type of a signage for that, because it will designate those different.
Yeah, they're out there, I've seen them in other municipalities, so yeah.
All right, so on the motion, the delegate to authorize Attorney Mills to revise the ordinance, I'll second that motion. Discussion?
Who made the motion? I'm sorry, she was
Michelle.
talking.
Okay.
Michelle made the motion, I said so.
Okay.
Yeah, discussion? On the revising ordinance. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay. Next item on the agenda is resolution 2024-2, R 2024-2, scheduling the 2024 annual meeting.
I drafted this, so I'll read it. Resolution 2024-2, resolution setting an annual meeting. Whereas the town of East Troy, Waterloo County, Wisconsin, pursuant to the provisions of the Wisconsin statutes, has conducted its annual meeting on the 16th day of April 2024. And whereas the electors of the town of East Troy have considered the question on the 2025 annual meeting, now therefore be it hereby resolved by the electors of the town of East Troy in annual session that the 2025 annual meeting be conducted on the 15th day of April 2025 at the hour of 6:30 p.m. at the town hall of the town of East Troy, Waterloo County, Wisconsin, and it is hereby further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to publish a notice of said annual meeting as a Class 2 notice pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 985 of the Wisconsin statutes and as provided for in Statute 60.11 Wisconsin stats, dated the 13th day of May 2024.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-2.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2024-2, scheduling the 2024 annual meeting for April 15, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at the town hall.
I'll second.
Michelle, second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. Next item is resolution approving town board appointments.
Would you like?
Please read down.
Resolution 2024-3, approving town board appointments. Whereas the town board of the town of East Troy appoints various positions annually, and whereas appointments for 2024 positions are scheduled to take place. Now therefore be it resolved that the following appointments by the town board of the town of East Troy are hereby approved for the 2024-2025 term. All appointments are annual unless otherwise determined by state statute or the town code. Planning Commission, first year term, Rich Denhart and Joe Johnner, terms expire 2027. Second year term, Dave DeBrey, Joe Cook, Jerry Gordon, terms expire May 2026. Third year term, Ben Smith and Paul Seeley, terms expire May 2025. Alternates, Rick Zess, Jeff Steineck, Greg Thomas, Charles Frank, and John Russell. 2. Town Building Inspector, Wisconsin Building Inspections. 3, Park Committee, Michelle Reyes, Tyson Leonard, and Zess. Library, 4, Library Representative, Christina Murphy. 5, ETA ESD Representatives, Barbara Church and Steve Schmittendorf. 6, Lakeville Management District Representative, Greg Thomas. 7, Recycling Committee, John Murphy and Kim Buchanan. 8, Booth Lake Memorial Park Representatives, Michelle Reyes and Dale Lebecki. 9, Weed Commissioner and Assistant, Joe Klarkowski and Todd Shield. 10, Emergency Government CEO, Tyson Leonard. 11, Smart Growth Representative, Joe Klarkowski. 12, Potters Lake Management District Representative, Elizabeth Sanders. 13, Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee, Joe Klarkowski. 14, Website Updates, Kim Buchanan, Jim Lowe, and Jennifer Olson. Approve this 13th day of May 2024.
Make a motion, we accept the resolution number 2024-03.
I second that motion.
Give a second, discussion?
Did you get in touch with Mr. Zest?
Yes, I did.
Park Committee, so now we'll need to be posting
No.
all park committee.
Yeah, you're not a committee of one anymore, so it has to be a full, monthly, regular meetings, agenda, posting. Wait a minute,
How about the recycling committee, do they do that? Notifications and posting, and agendas and minutes.
work is fun.